Morning, everybody. It is 8:37 a.m. and it's February 23rd. Here in Jersey, we had a friggin' blizzard, so it's literally wonderland out there. Crazy, crazy, crazy. And of course, our markets are already we got a VIX over 20. That sugar rush of the tariffs being illegal. I have a suspect that when it came out. Don't get me wrong. If that is the case, it's not exactly bad for the markets if tariffs are formed illegal the way Trump used them. However, he's going to do a 15% overall tariff anyway, what he can do. I think that's the max he can do. Now, the thing about this whole thing is, remember, we went down already at a low in April of 2025 for the Liberation Day and priced in tariffs and then went to all time highs. So I don't know what, you know, this market can take that. I mean, we already priced that in. We went down with tariffs. So now he's going to be find other ways to do stuff. I just don't know how much the market could go up with this when we already priced it in. So it's kind of weird. I think it's a sugar rush. What we got, don't, and who knows about refunds? Good luck with that. So, and we're just in this flux in our markets. We're not going anywhere. Friday was crazy. A ton of volatility. I'm looking at the half hour candles right now. They were like insane. So we're down today. And just this market doesn't know what it wants to do. It really doesn't. It just doesn't know what it wants to do. Okay. Now this week we have big earnings. And the only one everybody cares about is Nvidia. Nvidia reports this week. Okay. After that, pretty much wait till next earnings season. Okay. Now, that being said, welcome to my channel. My name is Steve Gonzalez. I use market profile, volume profile, and fund structure in the markets, along with supply and demand, gamma exposure levels, the most traded price of the year, the month, the week, and the previous day. That is my edge. Okay, that's how I construct game plans. Now I also use market internals, anchor VWAPs, a little ICT in there when I trade. All right, and my weekly expected move indicator. Okay. Now, hopefully, what the heck is going on here? Something's going on. I'm sorry. Give me a second here. I don't know why that is happening. That is weird. All right. Well, just having a little error in my OBS here. But subscribe, set an alert. I give you that market story every morning. Market news, economic calendar, technical analysis, and long and short trade scenarios in the Nasdaq and the ES futures. Okay. Now, hopefully, if you want more in-depth coverage, you can join my Discord. It's Confluence Trading. Go to my YouTube homepage, click on the link, and sign up. What are you waiting for? Let me be your indicator. Making many changes there in my Discord as of late. Working with this AI agent. Okay. All right. Let's get right into the futures watch list here. There's no time to waste. Okay. Right off the top of the list, we have a VIX that is up 6.398%. We're over a 20 again. So when you went up and we had pretty bullish internals after the tariffs were deemed illegal, and then it was just a back and forth, a back and forth, a back and forth, right? But now, look, we're just in the middle of nothing right now, right? Silver's up 4.62, gold's up 1.75, 30-year bonds are being bought. Crude is up 0.24, dollars down 0.14, ES down 0.34, Dow's down 0.41, Nasdaq's down 0.5%, Russell's down 0.5%. The 10-year yield is down So people are buying bonds. Maybe out of fear, maybe out of safety. Bitcoin can't get out of its own way, down 2.17. Ethereum down 2.18. Moving on to the Mag 7 Plus. Eli Lilly. Eli Lilly is up 3.32%. Okay. Now, about this, Novo Nordisk had some trial that didn't go as planned. I believe that's why Eli Lilly is up so much. All right. Nvidia's up 0.5%. Earnings run up possibly. We'll see. Google up 0.45. Now, over the five half percenters is Broadcom down 0.51, JP Morgan down 0.61, Apple down 0.65, Netflix down 0.67, Amazon down 0.79, Meta down 0.80, AMD down 1%, Tesla's down 1%, and Coinbase down 2%. Moving on to top sectors. NEM is up 0.94 with the metals moving. All right. Now, who's down? United Healthcare is down 0.59. Goldman Sachs down 0.61, Uber down 0.72, Qualcomm down 0.75, Oracle down 1.13. Salesforce reports earnings this week down 1.17, and Palantir continues to fall down over 1.5%. Sectors. Looking at healthcare is up because of Eli Lilly. Okay, but it's not even up that much. All right, now, who's hurting today? Financials, well, let's just go. Semis are down 0.39. Financials down 0.51. Technology down over 0.5% with 0.53. Discretionary is one of the laggards, down 0.61. And that's your Tesla, Amazon, Home Depot, and the basic materials. That's interesting. Basic materials is down 0.70, but the metals are up. So that just means other things in that sector are down. Okay. Moving on. We're going to go right into the morning prep here. Now that economic data, Fed Waller spoke at 8 a.m. These are non-impactful, really. 8:30 Chicago Fed, 10 a.m. factory orders. I never really seen that move markets too much. All right, so we got a light data. Then we talk about the headlines. Trump shifts toward a 50% global tariffs following Supreme Court setback on its executive authority over the weekend. OpenAI IPO path reports indicate a 600 billion compute spend target through 2030 to support a potential 1 trillion valuation. And then the VIX spike because of this. Trump today looks like, let's see here, 10 a.m. he's Angel Family's Remembrance Ceremony, 11 a.m. policy meeting in the Oval Office, closed press, 1 p.m. executive time, Oval Office, Oval Office closed press. Let's get into the market breadth here. So the bullish percent index of the New York Stock Exchange is 63% on buy signals. Now of the S&P 500, it's at 63. It's at 63%. It's basically the same. They're not always the same though, but they're the same. That is not. That's middling. It's a little better, right? Percent of stocks over the 50-day moving average, 66%. Technology is almost at 50. That was at 27. The NDX at 49. So this is just in the middle. It's right there. You can see it. It's in the middle. And then Bitcoin's down 2%. Okay. All right. We're going to get into if there's any other news here. I think I pretty much covered what's moving markets. I pretty much covered it. Let me just go to one thing here to see here. This is what I wanted to get into here. Okay. Here it is. Novo Nordisk stock slumped 13% after the drug-making giant said its experimental obesity medication Cagrasemi had not met a primary endpoint in an open-label head-to-head trial. Eli Lilly stock rose 2%. There we go. After rival Novo Nordisk obesity drug fell short. All right. Google. Alphabet stock rose 0.3 after Wells Fargo upgraded the tech giant to overweight. Nvidia stock slipped 0.2. Well, Nvidia is not down anymore. So ahead of the world's largest company earnings release, Domino's Pizza stock rose 4.9 after the fast food chain beat expectations. Netflix stock fell 0.7 as President Trump called on the streaming service to fire board member Susan Rice or pay the consequences after she said Democrats would push for corporate accountability if they regain power in the November midterm elections. The Department of Justice is currently reviewing Netflix's proposed acquisition of Warner Brothers. Right, there we go. And any other, I don't think anything. Him and Hers reports earnings after the close. we're done there. All right, we can move on to our market internals, which were very bullish at one point in the wild market. Okay. So, I mean, at one point, right, I was like, oh boy, this is pretty strong. Really strong on the sugar rush of that news at 10 a.m. Okay, that's what it was like at 10 a.m. Boom, stock went up, and then it went up, and then I was like, whoa, there's a lot of heavy volume up here at the highs. This could fall apart, and it did. And look at the internals went all the way almost down to zero, and then it just like was in a flux, and then eventually went right up and pretty much barcoded. Okay, so again, you already heard my feelings about pricing this stuff in. I don't really know how much that can move the market, right? I really just don't know. Um, like I said, the overall market wasn't crazy bullish, but the market cap weights were. Okay, all right, moving on. We're gonna go to the daily charts. All right, so let's look at these daily charts, which is going to show us absolutely not much. I mean, the important thing to look at here is just what I've been talking about consistently. This is right now what we've been doing. Okay, and actually, I can pull this out even farther. Look at this. What have we done? And it probably goes back farther. Let's see. Yeah, I can bring this back farther. We pretty much have not done anything. That's the market, folks, since November 26th. So that's November 26th, right? Then we got December 26th, January 26th, and now we're almost at February 26th. That's 3 months. We have not done anything. I mean, it's pretty apparent we have not done anything, right? So that's what we're doing. And look, again, what did we do? We ran into the anchored view up of the year on Friday, 20-day moving average, played with the 50 again. It's like, and then look, we're down again. We're down to 687. So we're here almost a little above the midpoint of Friday. Let's look at futures. Okay. Futures, you can see the anchor view up for the year right there, 20-day moving average. That's what we hit in futures. All right. Now look, we're getting some buying excess here now. I'm looking at the last 4 hours. Kind of got a little bit of a hammer. So that's what we're looking at there. But again, like, look at futures. It's going to be the same stuff, right? It's just back and forth and back and forth. It's just, there's no, if anybody says they're bullish or bearish, I mean, I don't know how you could have confidence. I sure don't. I don't know how anybody could be like, oh, we'll be breaking all the time. I mean, I don't know how anybody could be confident. If you are, then you don't know markets. And I'm not talking about someone who's like, I think in the next 6 months. I'm talking about in the next week or so, like what we're going to do. I don't know anybody who's going to be like, if you do, you must be able to tell the future. Because there's nothing telling us of anything right now. Okay? Qs. So the Qs, look, can't even reach the year-to-date anchor VWAP. Right? Where was Qs now? 605 50s. 605 50s. Again, near the midpoint of Friday, which is not, it's not a great location. The midpoint of Friday. The thing we're going to have today, we are going to have very nice tempo and ranges. All right. Now, Mondays are always a little wacky, right? You want to let the dust settle a little bit. We're in the middle of the ranges, which is not great. You don't want to be like in the middle of a range. That's where you get chopped up. Okay. Now, let's look at the futures. Futures, that is straight balance, folks. Boom, 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 boom. There is no winner or loser here. And the Nasdaq, you just look at it, all right? Like we'll look at it in this way. You have this range, boom. Then you have this range, okay. Then you have like this range was a problem for a while. Then you had this range. It just doesn't know what it wants. You want to make this a bigger range? You have all of them in here. That is, you can't get any more gross. Okay? That is a market that doesn't know what the heck it wants. Okay? It's very, that's why every day, and I can feel it when I'm like gonna trade. And if you're in my room with me live, if you're in my room with me live, you're gonna hear me go, man, this is like this, but this is like that, and this is like this. It's always like me going, ugh, ugh, like, and I'm listening to myself going, so like, don't get me wrong. I had a day where my edge was apparent. Like, well, oh, I know, perfect. I think it was Thursday, I believe, where I was like, oh, I'm shorting. Like everything is like this is what I've seen. But then other than that, like Friday, I actually took a couple of losses on shorts. The first short I got in literally ripped lower, like right off the bat, and I was like, okay, cool. And then Trump started talking, and I'm like, great, because the volatility picked back up, and it dropped one more time in my trade. I'm like, okay, maybe we fall now. But once he was talking, I don't know. Maybe I could have went to break even just to be like, you know what? But I also would have been mad at myself if the trade worked. You know, and I tried one more, and I really waited for pullbacks. It wasn't like, oh, that's the dumbest thing ever. The internals got very weak. I thought the sugar rush was going to fall apart, but then Trump started talking, and then you never know what's going to happen, right? So, like I said, I hope the theme of today is like this market being this back and forth, new range, balance range, another balance range, another balance range. A big move's going to happen. It's nobody knows the timing, okay? Nobody knows the timing. This is just there is no, oh, look at we're trending. We're not trending. So it's just going to be interesting to see what this market does. I just think it keeps being in this flux. Okay? And you really got to pick your spots. And the thing about trading, right? Just real quick, one more thing is and this is like the hard thing, very hard about trading, right? So let's just real quickly, we can just look at the spine in QQQ. All right, you can see right here. So there was a point, and I don't know if my one of my community members is in here, Malio. He was with me, and I go, ooh, that could be a nice short right there. All my mental shorts worked. I was like, ooh, that'd be nice. We drop. I said, ooh, that might be another nice one. It drops. And then I'm like, oh my God. Like, every mental short I had was like, And I was okay with it because I'm like, didn't do exactly what I needed, but I was kind of seeing the price action. And then the first time I try a short, it works right off the bat. And then it eventually, like, stopped me. Right? And that is trading. Friggin' annoying as hell. When you're like nailing the trades that you might take. I was already close to taking two of those, and they would have been both winners. And I probably wouldn't even have taken a third one, even though I believed in it. That's just trading. And I've had four losses in a row, which I haven't had, and I can't remember the last time. But these little things are going to play out. But like I'm not used to losing four trades in a row, or even two trades really that much in a row. So this stuff always happens. It's trading. I had to review my trades and go like, were they the dumbest trades ever? Not really. It just they don't go your way sometimes, right? And then especially if Trump's talking, right? So let's get into the 1 hour charts here. And there's not a lot of time they got to spend on these. It's really not. There's really not a lot of time. Usually it could be like these little nuances where I could be like, okay, guys, this level you really gotta. This is not that. This is not that. All right, let's get into it. All right. So here's Friday's crazy range, and look at those hourly candles. Wow. This is where I was short, I believe, and I was like, and that's the funny part too. I said we're probably gonna have problems right here when I was short, or I didn't get short yet. I got short in here, I believe, up and when we got a pullback. I was like, that's gonna be a problem. As soon as I said it and it looked like it was gonna fall, that started to be get some steam. So if we look at this, this is all really it is. It's balance. It's all it is. And what you have to concentrate on today is this 69.20s. What's your price of the week? What's your price of Friday? Okay, that's all you got to care about. Okay, balance. I do not, unless we hear some kind of, I don't know what catalyst it would be. We now are aware that the tariffs are illegal. We already have that. That was that sugar rush. Okay, because like I said, we already went down in the markets 30% in the QQQs last year. We priced that in already. And then, NAFTA are illegal. All right. I mean, I don't know how much that can make the market move. Okay. So, and look, we're just in the middle of Friday. So, bottom line, what do? See what we do if we come up to this level, last week's highs, around the 69.31s. That's what you have to do. Okay. Let's see what we do if we can break the 68.70s and coming down and test the 68.50s. This 68.47s to be exact, right? Look at that support. This is like a draw on liquidity, basically. That's the playground. Now, what's going to happen, okay, that you're in the middle of the balance? You're going to do this or this, guaranteed. Guaranteed. That's inside out, but that's a very tough trade. That is a very tough trade. Because what happens is we'll open, we'll do this, we'll do this, we'll do this, and then it'll finally pick something here or here. And that's where you want to be active. Here or here. That's more of an edge, right? Because how balance works, just to recap, once you start here, you're long, 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 you have problems, 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 and what do? The longs take profits, new shorts come in, and then we try to go up and then fail and go rare, back to balance. What happens again? Shorts take profits, new longs come in, right? Oh, we come back, hit, double bottom, move back up to the top of the balance. Got the sugar rush, try, open up on Sunday night, drop down. We didn't go back to balance. We made a lower high. Now, this could either test this again to roll over or do one of these and go back to the balance lows. Who knows? Okay? Who knows? Now, moving on to the NASDAQ. Okay, same thing. Okay, last week's highs, 25139s, right here. That's your balance highs. Balance lows, let's just call it, let's see here. Balance 2, I'll get you the exact level here. That's the most traded price of the week. 247.79s. Right there's your balance lows. Okay, and again, where are we at? In the middle of the balance. Horrible trade location. Horrible. Because you're going to test this side or this side. Just don't know which. And that's why, when I started out trading, I say this a lot, even in my room, that the mentor who was trading over 20 years would have all these rules that would make him not trade. And I'd be like, man, that sounds so stupid. Like, why would I not go long on this day? That's stupid. I just made money. I'm smarter than him. All this, right? Meanwhile, the guy had 20 years of trading, profitable trader. I think he made over around $650,000 a year of futures. And I'm sitting there saying, like, why does he do that? Well, because of probabilities. That's why. And in this is an inside out trade. Good luck. And I know, see, somebody might be watching me and going, oh, but today I went long and he said that's a hard trade and you made money. That's still, I wouldn't even care if you told me that. Because I'd be like, well, guess what? Unless you have a system you can prove to me, this is more gambling in here. Because we're just going to do this or this. Who knows where it's going to go? I don't know. But when you come out to the balance lows or the balance highs, probabilities, if let's say internals are kind of in parity, or we go back up. Probabilities say we probably go back inside to the mean. In here, it's like who knows where it's going to go. Okay, so that's a Nasdaq. There's not much analysis there. Okay, we'll just go to the market profile, volume profile for one last look. We'll get the final scenarios in, but like I said, there's not much to digest. Okay, I mean, again, I love the view of my scenarios here because it's my market profile, volume profile, because I love seeing the overnight session and the real-time trading hours, regular time trading hours sessions, because it just gives you a different look, which I really like. Okay, because look, that's Friday session. This is the overnights. We have a little poor low here, and price is right here, right by the midpoint of Friday. So we're right. Look, like I said, there's their balance. Okay, so very simple. Let's break out the session. Okay, it's very simple. All right, we're in the middle of balance and in the middle of Friday session. You're in no man's land. You're in no man's land. Okay, so remember, inside out trade, low probability. So we're going to get right into scenarios and wrap it up. So first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to go for shorts. Not because I don't have any bias today. I really don't. So if we come up here, test this supply, try to break last week's highs, Friday's highs, right? That's Friday's close up there. Well, I want to see if we sweep it, close back inside the range, get a lower high, well, then you short it. And then you try to target, right, overnight lows, 68, 67s. That's a poor low right there, equal low right there. And then try to hit up balance lows, 68.47. This level to me is very, very important. You have equal lows here on 3 sessions. Okay, if this market gets weak, this could really bust through that. Okay, now that's the shorts. Longs. Okay, longs. Same thing. Now, can you get something in here? Maybe. You pull down into this demand, you break this, you sweep it. Maybe. Okay. I prefer, and I have to see how the internals are, but let's say we drop, right? We break that overnight low, and then we go and we test the 68.47s. Now, that 68.47s obviously can be a bear trap. Because if we pull down and go, oh my God, see, it broke that level, and you see this close inside back in that balance range, and you get a higher low, that's a long. And then this market stays in flux. Okay, so that's your ES. Now we go to NASDAQ. Remember, we're also in a balance, right? And look at these levels here, folks. Last week's highs, 25139. Balance highs, balance lows. It's pretty simple. Okay. Remember, and I try to stress this in my community too, right? You want to label the type of market you're in. I don't apply trades I would in a trending market to a day like today. It doesn't make sense. I don't trade today like I would another day, like a trending day. I don't look at it like that. You have to have setups that pertain to the environment that you're in. You don't look for breakouts. Okay? Now, don't get me wrong. It's got to prove itself. It was the breakout today. But what's the probabilities? Our markets are in flux, right? So go with the probability. Okay, so let's get right into scenarios here. So I'm trying to stress here. And it's very important because when I first started trading, I didn't label the day. I didn't label the macro environment. I didn't label the intraday. I was all over the place. I didn't really have a setup for this day, a setup for here, what I like to see here. Every day now when I come in, I've seen pretty much all markets. I've been trading for 7 years. I've pretty much seen COVID, every kind of market. Okay, so there's nothing that surprises me. If you have super wild market like Friday, I tend to be like, okay, my edge gets dulled in the market like that. Super, super, super high volatility because it's your edge gets dulled for me myself. Because I'm like, this is wild. The market's each candle's pulsating like back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. It's very hard to get an edge on that unless you just nail a tick scalp or something, right? But how many people can say they nail that consistently? It's not easy. Okay? That's why I'm saying label the day in the middle of a range. Like if you just come in and go, oh, we're in balance, check, right? Oh, wait a minute, we're in the middle of Friday session. Oh, that's not a good place to be. Check. Probably not going to want to trade there. Oh, I'm going to want to be active on the edges because Steve said we're in balance. Okay, so I'm going to look for failures at the edges. That's your highest probability trade. And again, maybe something comes out where we break out. Like, okay, let's just give you an example. If we were to go like this, and internals were super bullish, something came out, and we're holding above here, okay, then maybe we break out. But until let the market prove that to me. I got to let the market prove that to me. Okay, market's got to prove that to me. I'm not just going to chase a breakout. When I first started, I love everybody. When you first start, you love breakouts. Okay. All right, so let's start shorts. Same thing. Come in here, go to the overnight highs. If you struggle here, this could be a short, or wait for it to tap that last week's highs. Still have a bearish for value gap there. Still have supply there. Okay. Boom. You close back inside that range. And the market, let's say, is either in parity or it's actually not that strong. Well, that's going to be a nice short. Okay. Tap the overnight lows. Go for Friday's lows. Okay. And you break this, you could really run to 24449s. Okay. That's it, folks. This is how easy this is. Now, I'm not saying trading is easy, but I'm saying this is where you just got to sit back and wait for the levels to get tagged. Now, if you want a long, like I said, just like an ES, if we drop down and clear the overnight lows, okay, and hit that most traded price of the week, and let's say you come back, that might be a little long, and you might get the overnight high. Well, that's not the overnight high. This is the overnight high, okay? Maybe that happens. That's in the middle of the range. Like I said, that's a little tougher. Now, if you get a little scalp, that's fine, right? But I would really rather have overnight lows broken, come down here, test those 2, 4, 6, 7, 7s, and then maybe dip your toe into this demand, and everybody thinks, oh, finally we're breaking down, and all of a sudden you close back inside of your lower high, you got to get long. That's how you have to play these, because what happens is in environments that you're in balance, it always looks like you're going to smash through it, and this is the breakout. Like, how many people thought on Friday, because of tariffs, that this trading up here, we weren't just going to rip? Because it makes you feel like this is it. I know my boy Rand likes that. This is it. All right? Even when you come down here, you go, oh man, this market's going to fall apart. And then it reverts. Right? So that's it, folks. That is it for me today. All right? Smash that like button if you enjoy my analysis. Be much appreciated. Okay? I'm going to try to get this going again here. I don't know why that's not showing me that. Doesn't make sense. Okay. There we go. Now make sure you subscribe to my channel. Do this every morning. Give you the market story, economic calendar, market news, and technical analysis. Just give you the long and short trade scenarios in the Nasdaq and ES futures. Now, if you want more in-depth coverage, you're going to join my Discord. That is Confluence Trading. Go to my YouTube homepage, click on the link, and sign up. What are you waiting for? Let me be your indicator. All right. Now, today you'll notice I have some proprietary stuff, right? Just to give you some example here. So, after we're done here, I go ahead and give you bookmarks to my scenarios in the pre-market scenarios tab. Okay. Now, at 9:31 a.m., I have my bot run my gamma script, my gamma level script, and those gamma levels, specifically flip points, will be posted in here. If you go to the top of my channel, there's a little education of why I use the gamma exposure. Okay, but they are posted here. Okay, take advantage of it. As well as my weekly expected move indicator for Thinkorswim. I post it here every Monday morning. I have my bot run my script. Okay, this is big edge. 70% of the time, all the tickers that are in this script will close within their expected range. 70% of the time. Big edge. Big edge. Okay. And then, of course, my live market updates. Now, generally, I usually do updates, but I'm been live every day around 9:50 a.m. to 9:55 a.m. Okay? I've been live. So, I'm talking constantly about what I'm seeing. Okay? Before, if I wasn't live every day, yeah, I'm going to post inside the chat. Okay? But come join me. Come join. Come ask questions. I'm never going to steer you wrong. These markets never surprise me. The only thing that's difficult is trying to execute something when there's mixed signals. It's not like I don't know what's going to most likely happen. All right? It's that a setup has to come up. So, but that's it for me, folks. Hope everybody has a great day. Now, it's friggin', I could barely see the cars outside right now. That's how crazy it is right now in Jersey. Okay? Hope everybody has an awesome day. Remember, no trade to trade. Hopefully you stay green, right? Today I'm going to sit back and wait for those edges to get hit. And like I said, unless there's something in the market that how it opens that I'm like, whoa, I'm not aware of, or it's like, okay, right. Intraday, look again, every intraday, there's going to be a new setup that forms that I was like, oh, I didn't. You don't know what's going to drive the markets. Okay, so hopefully everybody joins me today. Now, if I don't see you guys in my room, I'll see you guys.